The fire pit. The flames were rising. Smoke covered the sky. The air smelled like burning wood and fear. She was tied to a tall wooden post in the center of a wide circle. Around her, strange alien creatures danced and shouted in a language she didn't understand. Their skin was red and cracked like dry earth. Their eyes were black without any feeling. The girl, no more than 20, had bruises on her arms and dirt on her face. She had been captured 2 days ago while running from bandits. She thought she had escaped death, but now it waited in front of her, in the form of fire and hungry alien eyes. One of the aliens stepped forward. He wore bones around his neck and carried a long, curved knife. He looked like their leader. He raised the knife toward the dark sky and screamed something. The others shouted back, louder this time, stomping their feet and shaking spears. The girl struggled, but the ropes were too tight. Her legs hurt. Her throat was dry. She screamed, "Please, let me go!" But the aliens only laughed, a deep, rough sound. This was no joke. This was a ritual, and she was the offering. Suddenly the wind changed. The smoke moved aside for a moment. From the trees behind the fire, a soft crunching sound came, like feet on dry leaves. The aliens stopped, dancing. One turned its head. A tall figure stepped out of the jungle's shadow. He was not one of them. He was a human. He wore a dark jacket and had short brown hair. A long scar ran down one side of his face, but his eyes were sharp and calm. He walked straight into the circle like he didn't care about the fire or the weapons. The alien leader pointed his knife at him and shouted, but the human didn't stop. "Let her go," he said. His voice was low but strong. The aliens stared at him, confused. They didn't understand his words, but they understood his tone. Then, one of the aliens screamed and threw a spear. It flew, fast, straight at the human, but the human moved like lightning. He stepped aside and pulled out a small black device from his belt. With a quick press, it lit up and fired a beam of light. The spear exploded in the air. Panic. The aliens started, shouting and attacking. The human moved fast, dodging blows, using his weapon to knock down one alien after another. His movements were smart, not wild. He didn't kill unless he had to. But he fought like a man who had done this before. The girl watched with wide eyes. Was he real? Or a ghost sent to save her? Within minutes, the circle was empty. Most aliens had run into the jungle. A few lay groaning on the ground. The fire still burned, but the danger had passed. The human walked toward the post. He looked at the girl. His face was serious, but his eyes were soft. "You're safe now," he said. He cut the ropes quickly. Her legs gave out and she fell into his arms. Who are you?" she asked weakly. "Just a man trying to help," he answered. Then, everything went black as she fainted. She woke up in the middle of a quiet forest. The sky was dark blue above, stars twinkling like cold diamonds. She was wrapped in something warm, a jacket. His jacket. The man was sitting nearby, checking his gear. He looked up when he saw her move. "You're awake," he said. She sat up slowly. "What? Where are we?" "A safe place. For now." She looked around. "Why did you save me?" He didn't answer right away. He stared into the trees for a moment. Then he said, "Because I was once tied to a post too, and no one came for me." She looked at him, not sure what to say. He stood up and offered her a canteen. "Drink. You need water." She took it with shaking hands. "Thank you." He nodded. "Rest. We move at sunrise. They'll come back." Her eyes widened. "They'll come back?" "Yes," he said. "And next time, they won't be afraid." As he turned to watch the jungle, she realized something strange. She didn't even know his name. But somehow, she trusted him. And deep inside, a small voice whispered, "This was just the beginning." The rescue. The night wasn't silent anymore. A low drumbeat echoed through the jungle. Not from one place, but many. First, one drum, then 2, then 10. The sound rolled through the trees like thunder. The human's face turned serious. He was already packing his tools. The girl sat up quickly, fear rising in her chest. "What's that sound?" she asked, clutching his jacket around her. He looked at her. "They're calling the others. A full tribal call." "Why?" she asked, even though she already feared the answer. "They think you escaped their god's fire. Now they'll want to finish what they started." The girl's heart pounded. "But you saved me. You fought them off." He strapped a weapon to his side. "That was a small group, a scouting ritual. The real tribe is much larger." She stood, her legs still weak. "Then what do we do?" He looked around. "We move now." They ran through the jungle. The human moved like he knew every tree, every path. The girl followed closely, her breathing sharp. Roots grabbed at her feet. Branches scratched her skin. But she didn't stop. Behind them, the drum beats grew louder, closer. The jungle felt alive, watching them, chasing them. Then a deep growl. The human stopped and raised his hand. "Stay quiet." Something big moved in the bushes to their right. The girl froze. Her mouth went dry. Suddenly, a large creature stepped out. It was not an alien, but something worse. A jungle predator. Its body was like a giant lizard with thick, black scales and 4 glowing eyes. Its teeth were long and dripping. The human whispered, "Don't run. Slow steps back." The creature stepped closer, sniffing the air. Then, it charged. The girl screamed, but the human was faster. He grabbed a shiny round object from his belt and threw it at the beast's feet. A loud boom burst in the air. A flash of white light blinded everything. When the light faded, the creature was gone, running into the trees with a roar. The girl stared in shock. "What was that?" "A flash grenade," he said. "Not made for beasts, but it worked." Looked at him wide-eyed. "You carry all this." "I've survived 5 years here," he replied. "You learn what to carry." Soon they reached a tall cliff. Below it was a waterfall, and behind it, a hidden opening in the rock. "This way," the human said. They slipped behind the waterfall. Cold water soaked them, but inside was a dry, secret space. It looked like a small cave, but there were strange lights on the walls, old wires, broken machines. The girl looked around. "What is this place?" He sighed. "What's left of Earth Base 9, a human science station. Crashed long ago." "You were part of it?" "Yes. I was the only one who survived." She sat down, still trying to understand. "And now, you saved me." He sat across from her. "I don't save people often. Most of the time they're already gone when I find them." They were both quiet for a moment, then she asked, "What's your name?" He looked at her and said, "Dane." She smiled slightly. "I'm Alara." Just then a noise from the outside broke the moment, a loud screech. Then another, and another. Dane stood. He checked a screen on the cave wall. A red light was flashing. "They found us," he said. Alara's eyes widened. "How?" He pointed to the waterfall. "They know this land better than anyone. They smelled your blood, maybe even mine." Alara stood. "What do we do now?" Dane handed her a strange-looking metal rod. "What's this?" she asked. "A stun stick. You may need it." "I've never fought before," she said softly. "You will tonight." He pulled out more gear, traps, energy nets, small mines. "We hold them off here," Dane said. "They want their fire goddess back. But she's not going with them." Alara looked down at the stun stick in her hand. Maybe she was still afraid. But she was no longer helpless. Outside, the jungle screamed with drums and howls. Inside, a human and a once-doomed girl prepared to fight. Not as prey, but as survivors. The jungle path. The night sky faded into gray. The sun was rising behind thick alien trees, but the jungle stayed dark. Fog floated through the branches like ghosts, and far in the distance the drums were still beating. Dane and Alara moved fast. They left the hidden cave before first light. The cave had bought them some time, but not safety. The tribal aliens would keep hunting. Dane knew their ways too well. Elara followed closely, her boots wet from mud and her hands tight on the stun stick. How far is your safe place? She asked. A day's walk, Dane said. If we stay quiet. They walked single file along narrow animal trails. Strange alien birds chirped above. Glowing plants lit their path. Somewhere nearby, something heavy crashed through the underbrush, but Dane didn't stop. Elara, he said softly. Don't look behind you. Don't break your pace. Her heart jumped. Why? They follow in silence now. It means they're close. As they crossed a fallen tree over a deep ravine, Elara slipped. She gasped, but Dane grabbed her arm just in time. He pulled her. Back up with one hand. She was shaking. I almost fell. You fall here, you don't come back, Dane said. They won't even need to catch you. She looked down into the mist below. Something moved down there. Something big. They kept walking. Every step was slower now. Every sound in the jungle felt louder than before. Suddenly, Dane stopped and held up a fist. Elara froze. He crouched low, motioned her to do the same. She joined him behind a thick root wall. Across the path, a small alien scout crept by, its skin marked with white paint, its nose sniffing the ground. It moved like a wolf, crawling on all fours. Alara's breath caught in her throat. The scout stopped. It looked up, sniffed again, then suddenly darted forward, past them, gone. Dane waited another minute before moving. That was a seeker, he said. They send those to track fear. They smell fear, Elara whispered. Dane nodded. That's why you have to stay calm. Even if you're scared, don't act scared. After an hour of walking, the jungle opened into a small clearing. In the middle stood a metal tower, broken in half, covered in vines. Elara pointed. What's that? Dane stepped closer. Part of the old human ship. I used to sleep here when I first crashed. Inside the base, Dane found a bag with old supplies, water packs, medkits, and a dusty photo of a crew. He showed her. This was my team. 30 scientists. Only I made it. Elara looked at the faces. What happened? The aliens thought. We were demons, fire spirits from the sky. They attacked before we could explain. He placed the photo back in the bag. We thought we came to explore, but we entered their holy land. And now they think I'm a goddess? Elara asked. Dane looked at her. Not a goddess, a curse. They believe the fire ceremony purifies evil. You survived. That means something powerful in their beliefs. Elara shivered. So they won't stop until I'm dead. Exactly, Dane said. Suddenly a sharp sound, snap. A trap wire had been triggered. Get down, Dane shouted. They jumped as a spear shot through the trees, missing them by inches. 3 tribal warriors rushed forward. Elara raised her stun stick. One alien lunged at her. She pressed the stick forward and zapped. The alien screamed and dropped. Another grabbed Dane's arm, but he twisted and struck it with a metal bar. The third tried to escape, but Dane threw a sharp disc at its leg, locking it with energy. The fight lasted only seconds, but Elara was panting like she had run miles. Her hands shook. They're getting bolder. They're testing us, Dane said. Seeing how we fight, how tired we are. He looked around. We need to reach the ravine bridge before night. After that, we'll be near my real shelter. Is it safe? Elara asked. As safe as anything gets on this planet. As they walked again, Elara asked, Why do you keep risking your life for me? Dane didn't answer at first. Then he said, Because I know what it's like to scream and no one comes. Elara looked at him with quiet eyes. They walked in silence for a while, but something had changed between them. The jungle still hunted them. The aliens still watched from the shadows, but now they weren't just running to survive. They were walking, side by side. The hidden shelter. The sun was low now. The sky turned orange and the jungle air felt heavy. Shadows stretched long across the trees as Dane and Alara climbed a rocky path. The trail was narrow, barely wide enough for one person. Below them, the jungle floor was lost in thick mist. Not much farther, Dane said, helping Alara across, a sharp ridge. She looked exhausted. Her arms were scratched and her legs ached, but she didn't complain. "How do you even live here?" she asked. "You stop thinking about comfort," Dane said, "and start thinking about survival." At the top of the ridge, Dane stopped. A huge rock wall stood ahead, covered in vines. "This is it." Alara blinked. "This? It's just a wall." Dane smiled. "Watch." He pressed his hand against a flat stone. A small panel slid open, revealing a scanner. A red beam scanned his palm. Then, with a low hum, part of the rock wall moved, slowly sliding open. Alara gasped. "It's a door." They stepped inside. The space beyond the wall looked like a hidden cave, but it wasn't natural. It was a shelter built from metal and stone, half buried, half broken. Flickering lights ran along the floor. Machines lined the walls, covered in dust, but still working. Alara looked around in wonder. "This is incredible. You built this." "No," Dane said. "This was part of a deep survival module, emergency shelter for high-risk research. I just fixed what I could. There were old food packs, solar batteries, and even a sleeping pod. It's not perfect," Dane said, "but it's safe. The walls are thick, the doors hidden, and the scanners can detect life up to 500 meters. Alara sat down slowly on a soft bench. "It feels like I'm back on a ship." Dane handed her a meal pack and water. "Eat. You need your strength." While she ate, Dane walked to a control table and turned on a small screen. It showed a 3D map of the nearby area. "Look," he said, pointing. "These dots are us, the red ones. Those are the hunters." Alara leaned closer. "There are so many." "Yes," he replied, "but they've slowed down. They're waiting for something." "What do you think it is?" she asked. Dane zoomed out on the map. "I think they're waiting for the full moon." "Why?" He stared at the screen. "It's part of their belief. The full moon is a night of power. If they kill you under that light, they believe they'll gain strength from your death." Alara felt cold. "So we have until tomorrow night?" Dane nodded. Later, as the shelter grew quiet, Alara explored a little. She found a wall with pictures and papers, photos of Earth, old mission notes, and a small flag. She saw one photo that caught her attention. A young woman, smiling, blonde hair. "Is this your family?" she asked. Dane didn't look up. "My wife. She was part of the mission." "What happened?" "She died in the first attack, trying to protect the communication tower." Alara felt a lump in her throat. "I'm sorry." Dane nodded. "It's not your fault. It's theirs. These aliens. They feared what they didn't understand, but now I think something's different." He turned to Alara. "They don't just fear you. They think you're the link between their world and mine." Alara frowned. "What do you mean?" Dane walked to a console and pulled out a small device. It glowed when Alara touched it. "This is a bioscanner. It checks DNA. When you arrived, I scanned you." "You scanned me?" she said in surprise. "I had to." "For safety," he said. "But what I found, Alara, your DNA has markers, ancient markers, alien markers, from this planet." She stared at him. "You're saying I'm part alien?" "Not just that," Dane said. "You may be part of the original species that first made contact here, a hybrid. Maybe your mother, or grandmother." Alara sat down hard. "No wonder they want me. They think you are a spirit returned, a lost daughter of their world, mixed with human blood." Dane looked her in the eyes. "Alara, You may be the only thing that can end this war. A warning light beeped on the console. Dane turned and checked it. They're near, he said. 50 meters and closing fast. Ilara stood. What do we do? We prepare, he said, and we survive one more night. Outside, the jungle grew quiet, too quiet. Inside, two humans, one full, one part, stood between two worlds, and the moon was rising. The ritual hunt. The moon had risen. It was full, huge, silver-white in the black sky. It watched the jungle like an eye. Below it, the trees were glowing faintly, touched by the alien moonlight. Inside the hidden shelter, an alarm flashed red. They're here, Dane said, staring at the scanner. All around us. Ilara's heart began to race. How many? He pressed buttons. The screen lit up with red dots, more than 20. Too many. Outside, they heard it. Boom, 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 drums, not fast, slow, heavy, rhythmic. This was no longer a chase. This was a ritual. They're not attacking, Ilara said. Why are they just standing there? They're calling you out, Dane replied. It's the final part of the hunt, the last test. They want you to come willingly. Ilara looked at him. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, they'll burn the forest. They'll destroy everything around to force you out. Ilara's hands shook. I don't want to die. Dane put his hand on her shoulder. Then don't. You don't have to. She looked at him. They think I'm part of them, right? That I have alien blood? Yes. Then maybe I can stop them, not by fighting, but by speaking. Dane looked unsure. It's dangerous. If they reject you, they'll kill you faster than any weapon. Ilara stood tall. But if I hide, they'll still come. At least, this way. I try. They stepped outside the shelter. The jungle was quiet now, but they felt eyes watching. Dane had his weapon ready, but Ilara held nothing in her hands, just a piece of cloth tied around her wrist. It had symbols drawn on it, the same symbols she had seen on the cave wall back in the village. Tribal symbols of peace. They walked toward a small clearing, and there, they waited. One by one, shadows moved through the trees. The aliens stepped out slowly, their bodies painted with white ash, their eyes glowing in the moonlight. They surrounded the clearing but didn't attack. Then the leader came. It was the same alien who had tried to burn her on the post. His face was older, his chest marked with deep scars. He walked to Ilara and pointed a blade at her chest. Ilaka. Rintash vo, he shouted. Dane stepped forward. Back off. But Ilara held up her hand. Let me try. She stepped closer to the leader. Then, she knelt. All the aliens gasped. Dane froze. Ilara bowed her head and said, I am of two worlds. Your blood flows in me, but so does theirs. I am not your enemy. The leader narrowed his eyes. He lowered the blade, but only a little. She pulled up her sleeve and showed the symbol tied to her wrist. I respect your ways, she said, but I will not burn. Not tonight. A long silence. Then, the leader shouted, Shenavar, Takailari. The aliens started chanting. Some lifted their hands. Some dropped to one knee. Dane whispered, What's happening? They're calling me a bridge, Ilara said in shock. A bridge between the stars and the soil. But peace didn't last. A loud noise broke the air, a sharp, angry sound. Another alien stepped forward, taller than the leader. His body was covered in black paint. His eyes burned with hate. He shouted at the leader, then pointed at Ilara and screamed. Dane whispered, He's the death caller, a rival chief. He doesn't accept you. Before anyone could speak, the death caller threw a spear. Dane moved in front of Ilara, but the leader knocked the spear aside at the last second. The death caller roared and charged. A fight began. Aliens screamed. Two sides clashed. those who accepted Alara and those who wanted her dead. Dane pulled Alara behind a tree. "We have to go." "No," she said. "I have to end this." She grabbed a flare from Dane's belt, pulled it, and threw it into the sky. Boom. Red light exploded over the jungle. All the aliens stopped, shocked. Alara stood tall in the red glow. "I am not your fire sacrifice," she shouted. "I am your flame of change." Some gasped, others bowed. The death caller screamed again and charged straight at her. This time Dane didn't hesitate, he fired. The death caller fell to the ground. Silence. Then, the leader stepped forward. He knelt before Alara. One by one, the other aliens followed. Dane walked up to her. "You just changed everything," he said. Alara nodded, her hands shaking. "I didn't know if it would work." "But it did," Dane said. "They follow you now." Alara looked at the stars. "Then maybe I can lead them to peace." The final stand. The jungle was at war. Fires burned in the trees. Smoke rose like black hands into the night sky. And the full moon, still bright above, now glowed red through the smoke. Alara stood at the edge of the clearing, heart racing. The tribe had split in two. Half had accepted her, called her the Flame Bridge, the one who connected stars to soil. The other half followed the dead Death Caller's younger brother, a new war chief who wanted blood for revenge. "They're regrouping," Dane said, loading another energy cell into his weapon. "They'll hit us before sunrise." "How many?" Alara asked. "At least 30, maybe more." She looked at him. "And how many do we have?" 10. Plus you and me." She took a deep breath. "Then we fight smart." Back at the hidden shelter, Alara and Dane prepared defenses. The friendly aliens, now her followers, helped set traps, nets made from thick roots, stone slingshots, sharpened sticks hidden in mud. Dane taught them quickly. "Don't wait to be attacked," he told them. "Strike, disappear, strike again." Alara stood on a flat stone near the shelter entrance. She raised her voice. "If we survive tonight," she said, "we show them we are not weak. We are not their prey. We are something new." The aliens pounded their spears in agreement. Even in fear, they had hope now. The attack came at midnight. The enemy tribe charged from all directions. Loud war cries filled the jungle. Red paint on their bodies, fire in their eyes. But they were not ready for what waited. As they crossed the open field, nets pulled their feet from under them. Spikes stabbed from the ground. Smoke bombs exploded, blinding them. From the trees, Alara's side attacked, quick, silent, deadly. Dane moved like a shadow, firing blasts that knocked warriors off their feet. His human mind gave them an edge. His traps were clever, fast, effective. Alara fought too, not with a weapon, but with her voice. She shouted orders, gave hope, guided the young warriors like a leader. But the enemy was strong. Too strong. After hours of fighting, they pushed through the lines. The shelter's stone gate shook as enemy warriors slammed into it. Inside, Alara helped a wounded child alien, barely older than 10. She held his hand and whispered, "You're safe now. Don't give up." Suddenly the gate cracked, then, boom, it burst open. The war chief entered. He was tall, covered in black armor made from bones. His eyes locked onto Alara. "You do not belong," he hissed in her language. She stood. "This is not your world alone anymore." He raised his spear. She didn't run, but before he struck, Dane appeared behind him, fired his weapon. The blast knocked the chief back, but he didn't fall. He turned and charged at Dane, roaring. The two men clashed, Dane dodging, striking, pushing. But the alien was strong, wild. They rolled across the floor, knocking over equipment. Alara looked around, saw the flare gun. She grabbed it. As the alien raised his blade to finish Dane, Alara fired. Boom! A blinding flare exploded in the chief's face. He screamed, covering his eyes. Dane stood up and delivered the final blow, straight to the chest. The chief fell, and silence followed. Outside, the enemy tribe saw the flare. They saw their leader fall, and slowly they dropped their weapons. It was over. The war was done. Alara walked outside, smoke rising behind her. She looked at the broken tribe. No more fire sacrifices, she said. No more blood. One by one they knelt. Dane sat near the ruins of the shelter. Alara joined him. You okay? She asked. He nodded. You? She smiled. I'm not the same girl who was tied to a post. You're more than that now, he said. You're a leader. She looked up at the sky. A small blue light blinked. Dane followed her gaze. The Earthship, he said. They're near, maybe a day out. Alara felt a strange twist in her heart. So, this is the end? Or, maybe the beginning, Dane said. She didn't answer. The jungle behind her was still. The war was over. But her story was not. The extraction. The jungle was quiet now. No more drums. No more fire. Only the soft rustling of trees and the whisper of wind through the leaves. Alara stood on a high hill with Dane. Below them, the tribes gathered. Both sides, warriors who once hunted her, and those who protected her, now stood together waiting, watching the sky. They're coming, Dane said. She nodded slowly. Above, in the blue morning sky, a ship broke through the clouds. White, clean, and shining with earth markings. Its engines hummed like distant thunder. Alara felt her chest tighten. After everything, Earth had finally come. The ship hovered over the jungle, then slowly lowered itself into a large clearing. Dust and leaves flew in all directions. A ramp extended. Human soldiers in silver suits walked down holding scanners and medical kits. One of them stepped forward. He removed his helmet. His face was clean, his hair gray, and his voice strong. Survivors? He called out. Dane raised a hand. Here. The man's eyes widened. Dane Harris from Base 9? Yes, Dane said. And this is Alara. She's not from our ship, but she's the reason I'm alive. The man looked at Alara with curiosity. You're not fully human, he said. No, she replied. But I'm not fully alien either. As the crew scanned the area, more humans came out. Doctors, technicians, scientists. Dane was taken aside for a medical check. Alara watched as they scanned his wounds, asked him questions, offered him food. For a moment she felt like a stranger among her own kind. Then a woman in a lab coat came to her. You're very important, the woman said. Your DNA carries something ancient, something that connects us and them. Alara frowned. They called me a bridge. The woman smiled. They were right. A crowd formed around Alara. Human scientists asked her questions. How did she survive? What did the aliens believe? Why did they not kill her? But Alara kept looking at the trees. Behind the humans, the tribal aliens stood silently. They didn't step forward. They didn't speak. They only watched her, waiting. She turned to the lead officer. Can I speak to them? He looked confused. The aliens, why? Because they trust me, she said, and they need to hear what comes next, from me. Alara walked toward the tribes. The warriors moved aside as she passed. The leader stepped forward, the one who had once tried to burn her. He now held out a carved wooden staff, his sign of leadership, and offered it to her. She touched it gently. I can't stay, she said, but I won't forget you. The elder nodded slowly. You changed us, he said in broken English. You burned not in fire, but in heart. She smiled. Maybe one day, we will build something together, humans and your people. Peace. Aang raised his hand to her forehead, a sign of respect. Back at the ship, Dane stood beside the ramp. "They want to take us home," he said. Alara looked at the stars above. "Is that still home?" Dane didn't answer. She looked at the jungle behind her, the people she saved, the culture she now understood, and the pain she had survived. "I don't think I can leave," she whispered. Dane's eyes widened. "What?" "Alara," he said. "Earth is safe. You've earned it. But they need me here," she said. "They're still healing. And if I leave, they'll go back to fear. Back to blood." She looked at him. "I want to build something better here. And maybe you can stay too." The ship's engines powered on. Time was running out. Dane looked at the ramp, then at her. "You really want to stay?" Alara nodded. He smiled. "Then I stay too." The two of them walked away from the ship. The captain called out, "Are you sure? This is your only ride home." Alara turned back. "We are home." As the ship rose into the sky and disappeared, into the clouds, the jungle seemed to breathe again. Alara stood beside Dane, surrounded by former enemies who now called her leader, daughter, light. And in that moment, under the rising sun, one truth burned brighter than any flame. She was no longer a sacrifice, she was a legend.